Stop faking it! Mom! Stop faking it! Don't play dead to avoid marriage. The gifts are accepted. You must marry today. You have to marry!
Mom! What are you doing? My daughter doesn't want to marry! Let's not force her! Okay.
Get out of my way! Stay out of this! Ouch! It hurts. Where am I? Marry her off! The Lees are willing to take her! It is her fortune! Stop it! She is freeloaded for years. Now I tell her to marry, she dares say no!
I helped you escape. Just give in to me. When I return to the city, I'll treat you well.
Get away!
Even if you scream your lungs out, no one will come to save you.
Dad! Mom! Dad!
There's a sound.
You little wretch! Mom! Get out of my way!
Mom!
Get out!
What are you doing?
Go back! You slut! Dare run off with a man! I'll beat you to death! I'll kill you! I'll kill you! I'll kill you!
What? She was beaten to death.
You dare play dead? Ouch!
Mom, the Lee family's here for the bride.
Come on, get this little bitch onto the wagon. Don't let her run away.
Hurry up!
Hey, don't touch me. It is just marriage. I'll go. You untie me first. I won't run away, but on one condition. I get to take all my stuff.
He doesn't have much anyway, just a few.
Whatever.
Facts.
Move it.
Just this junk. Take it. Take it all.
What? It is a villa. It is a pocket space.
Perfect.
Been tied up, so thirsty. The supplies here are endless. This is amazing. Just now, I touched the birthmark to get in. So to get back.
She was poor and pathetic. What's that to me?
What is so funny? Pack up and get out.
For $35, you gave up a cash cow. What idiots.
Little bitch, you are taking the bed frame too.
Not just the bed, even a single thread. I won't leave you anything.
You ungrateful wretch!
Jenny, try on this wedding dress. When you're at your in-laws, if you're mistreated, come home. This is the wedding dress I made for you. Put it on before you go.
Mom, isn't this the red cloth you said you'd make me a dress with? The one that went missing. How did Aunt Mary get it?
That's the one I bought. Look at you. If you wanted it, you could have asked. Why'd you take it yourself?
I didn't take it. I saved up for a long time to buy this. I didn't steal it.
Accusing without proof. Look at you. Next time, try touching my mom again.
You little slut. Watch your mouth. I'll rip your mouth off.
Hey, David's wife. This isn't the time to argue. Jenny's wedding is more important than your stolen cloth.
My mom didn't steal this cloth. If you don't believe it, let's go to the center. Let's see if Aunt May bought it.
Fine, you didn't steal it. Guess I was wrong.
What is all this noise? The wagon's outside, been waiting forever. Stop dawdling. They're getting impatient. Hurry up. Go, go, go.
Mom, take this.
Where did you get this?
It is my dowry. I found it while packing. Keep this safe. Don't let them see it.
Okay, I'll keep this safe for you. Once you're there, you must be obedient.
Don't worry.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go.
Okay.
Hey! What are you doing?
Married daughter, spilled water. No matter how you fare there, don't come crawling back. Spill the water, cut ties.
Don't worry. I wouldn't come back even if you begged.
Go back.
Go back.
It is getting dark. Victor still isn't back. He is not back on our wedding night. Is this some kind of joke?
Why is the bedding still dirty?
Victor's wife, still up?
This is our mother-in-law. I am your second sister-in-law. We came to see you.
He is not here. Why are you here?
Well, my brother's in the army. He can't just come home.
What? Wait. You are marrying him off here, and he feels it in the army. Quantum entanglement marriage.
What? What entanglement?
Oh, never mind. It is late. What do you want?
Hey, what are you doing? Go on, greet her. What did I just tell you?
Mom.
What?
Wait a sec! I just got married. I haven't even met my husband. How come? I have 2 kids. So, Victor is divorced.
Oh, Jenny, you're mistaken. These 2 kids are Aunt Victor's. They're his brothers.
Oh, you marrying the same wife to 2 brothers, that is illegal.
Oh my. No. Listen to me. Victor's brother passed away, left 2 kids. I was hoping you'd raise them.
I see.
No way. I am not a nanny. Why should I raise them?
Jenny, don't take this the wrong way. After Victor's injury, he can't have kids. While the kids are young, they won't remember. Raise them. They'll take care of you. Look after you. In your old age. Besides, you won't have to give birth, risking your life. It is a true blessing.
Hell no, I don't need this blessing. You keep it for yourself.
Hey. Right. That 2-room house. Was it the eldest?
Right? Yeah, but after the eldest passed, the second and his wife moved in temporarily.
I'll raise the kids. But that 2-room house is mine. I've raised these kids for 6 months. The food I spent could buy this house. Why should you get it? You took his house, but won't raise his kids. Where is such a deal? If the house isn't mine, then these kids, you raise them for the eldest.
Hey, Ma, alright. Grace, Jenny just joined us today, and Vic isn't home. Must you say this now? Let's talk later.
You 2 useless brats. Get back to work. Chop the wood, or no dinner tomorrow.
Unbelievable. Just married and they want me to be a mom. Both families are nuts.
Mom?
Sister-in-law?
Stop. I am Victor Lee. You are Jenny Summers, right? Sorry. I didn't mean it.
Look at him. He must be a good husband.
Why apologize? This scar, you didn't cause it. It's my bridal gift.
Bridal gift? Did your family hit you? Or did they force you to marry me?
Whether forced or not, I am already married. Let's drop it.
Why put the bedding there? Aren't you cold?
You are a soldier. How poor are you that you can't afford new bedding?
Oh. For tonight, use my army coat to sleep.
What about you?
I'll just sleep on the floor. Get some rest.
He looks down on me? I haven't even said you're no good. He's actually pretty handsome. But so what if he's handsome? All looks, no use. Fine, let's sleep.
Get up and cook! Are you trying to starve us?
Victor, when did you get back?
I got back late last night. Didn't want to wake anyone. Second sister-in-law. What is wrong?
Nothing. It is just Mom asked me to get Jenny to cook. She's the new bride. But Mom said, Lee family rules can't be broken.
What stupid rule is this? How come? I don't know.
Sister-in-law, I remember, the day after you married in, you didn't cook either. Every time I came home, never once did you cook. But when it comes to my wife, suddenly there's a rule?
Not bad. He knows how to protect me.
All right. That is enough. Stop it. Vic's finally home. Grace, go make breakfast. Now. Me. Who else? Go now.
Fine. Don't blame me if you starve.
Victor, Jenny, just one corn bun and some porridge left. Jenny, you don't work, so give this corn bun to Victor to eat.
Hey, why are you stealing my bun? Didn't you say there's only one cornbread left? What's this? What? My husband doesn't deserve a wheat bun? Why are you rummaging? Give me back the bun! My husband works the field. One bun isn't enough. Besides, Victor doesn't work the field. One cornbread is enough. So your family of 4 gets 2 cornbread, 2 wheat buns, and 4 bowls of porridge? And we only get a bowl of watery porridge and 1 cornbread?
That is how I split it. What can you do? You earn no work points. Be grateful for the porridge. Give me back the bun. I'll scratch your face off.
What is this? Grace, I am right here. You want to pick on my wife?
I was just... Hey, Grace. You are hiding food too? I'll deal with you later. Jenny, stop the fuss. What a mess.
Mother-in-law, don't blame me. If Grace hadn't been so unfair, would I be like this?
All right. Enough. Vic sends money home every month. What is wrong with the bun? This bun should be Vic's.
Vic, this time back. Did the army give you your allowance?
Huh, so that's the plan. I thought she pitied her son, giving him the wheat bun. Let's go.
Why did you help me just now?
I am your wife. Who else would I help?
I thought you were forced to marry me, and I didn't want to.
I thought you were forced to marry me. Last night you wouldn't even get in bed. What? Afraid I'd eat you.
I was...
Broken. Look at my mouth. Knew he couldn't do it, but still mocked him.
Alright, forget it. From now on, we're just brothers. We don't have to do that, right?
That... What? What?
Oh, come on. You really like to joke about yourself, huh?
Aunt Grace, I am still hungry.
You little brat. All you do is whine. Why don't you just starve to death? What are you staring at? I feed you, and this is how you repay me. Try staring again. You little brat. I'll teach you a lesson today. What are you doing? They were just hungry and said so. Do you really have to hit them? I am teaching my kids. It is none of your business. They eat my food, live in my house. I can hit them. Even if I kill them, it is none of your business. If you don't like it, then you adopt them. If you won't raise them, then mind your own business. One more word, and I'll hit you too.
My wife has quite a temper.
I'll kill you!
Jenny Summers, why did you hit her? Vic? Grace is still your sister-in-law. She just hit her. That is so unreasonable. Aren't you going to stop her?
Mom! She hits and scolds. The two kids, and you don't stop her. How can you face our late brother? Besides, Grace. Back then, if he hadn't helped build your house, you wouldn't have been crushed to death. How can you do this? To two kids! I think my wife did the right thing.
They're not my own kids. I took them in, and now I can't even discipline them. I won't raise them. If they starve to death, freeze to death, it is none of my business. You raise them yourselves.
You just want me to adopt them, right? Fine. I'll adopt them. From now on, these two kids are part of our family. Anyone who touches them will answer to me.
You really want to adopt them?
I, Jenny Summers, never go back on my word.
Fine. Victor's here too. Let's go to the center and get it official. Let's go.
Sit here. Oh, Bella, good girl. Don't cry. I'll protect you now. No one will hurt you.
Okay, good.
You've suffered. I didn't know Grace would treat the kids like that.
It is nothing. Just 2 more mouths to feed. As long as I have food, they'll never go hungry. You two, wait here for me. I'll make you something good.
Beef noodle soup with 2 eggs.
Dinner's ready.
Jenny, the beef and eggs. Where did you get them?
Don't worry about it.
Bella, William, eat up.
Could it be from, dowry?
William, why aren't you eating? Don't like meat.
We haven't earned our work points.
From now on, the 2 of you are part of our family. In this family, no need for work points to eat meat.
William, I know you are a man, but work points are for adults. Don't worry. Uncle Victor has a good salary. You and your sister will never starve again.
William, this is delicious. You eat too. So good.
Well, what does Victor see in her? Everyone knows Jenny ran off with a man and was almost killed.
Grace, Don't talk nonsense. You are slandering her.
I am telling the truth.
Can't you just ignore those gossiping women? They'll believe anything.
How is this my fault? It was Jenny's family who said it.
That's right. I tried to elope, but it didn't work. It's complicated. I did it, but I didn't. Do you believe me?
Yes.
Just like that? All right. Since you trust me so much, from now on, I'll make sure we live well.
I believe you.
Aren't we going to the community center? Let's go.
Mr. Carter, Jenny and I are getting married, and we'll adopt the kids. Then my family is moving out. Please help us register.
Vic, you moving out?
Yes, Mom.
Vic, are you sure? Once we split, Jenny is so weak. Look at her. She can't work. She can't work. Your whole family will depend on you.
Mom, if she wants to move out, let her go. That way, she won't steal my husband's work points.
Mom, my monthly allowance is 40. I'll give you 10 for your retirement. The remaining 30 should be enough to support Jenny and the 2 kids.
What? That is impossible. Even if you move out, your allowance still has to be with me.
Hey, mother-in-law, how can you say that? If we move out, my husband's allowance, all to you. How will we live?
Hey, you just married in, and you want the money. As long as I am alive, I am in charge here. 10 a month is way too little.
Oh, Linda, Victor is giving you 10 for retirement. That's enough for several months' pay here. Still not enough.
My son supports me. Isn't that only right?
Exactly.
Victor served 7 years. Every month he sent 20 of his pay. Over 7 years. That is over 1,700. Still not enough.
Mom, that much? Mom, that much? You really have that much? Then last time, when I asked for $2 to make Tom some winter sleeves, you wouldn't give it to me.
Mom, you have so much money. Why are you so stingy with me?
Bullshit! Why would I get it? With this big family, you don't share or drink with the work points you earn. Is it enough? If not for Vic sending money monthly, you'd have starved to death.
All right, stop arguing. Since we're splitting up, could you, Chief, come to our house to witness?
Here, take it. Kid, that. Don't lose it. Why stand there? To your house. Split up.
Now.
Chief, have a seat.
You two, go to the kitchen and bring out the grain for Vic and Victor's wife. Against me, you are outmatched.
Chief, have some tea.
Sure.
Mr. Carter, look, this is all the grain we have. Winter is coming soon with this little grain. I don't know if we can make it through. But since we're splitting up, I won't take advantage. Let's split by head count. Victor's family gets 30%. How does that sound?
So eager. She must be hiding more, but I have the space, so I don't mind. Let's just get this over with.
Victor and Jenny, what do you think?
Chief.
We're fine with it. But there's one thing we must clarify.
We've split the grain. What else do you want to argue about? Of course, the 2 brick houses. Jenny Summers, how dare you be so shameless? Mom already gave this house to us. Why do you want it?
Who's shameless? Taking his house, beating his kids. You're shameless. If you treated them well, I wouldn't mind. But I'm raising them now. Yeah, you still want the house. You want to take all the advantage.
Young Jenny's right. These 6 months, how you two treated those 2 kids. The village sold all about the house. You're in the wrong.
Who said we won't return it? When William grows up and gets married, I'll return it as his new home. Second sister-in-law, you are so calculating. How old is William now? Wait for him to marry. Free rent for over a decade. Aren't you also after these 2 rooms? How dare you say me? I won't live here free. How about this? Whatever he spent to build it, I'll pay the same to buy it then. We'll put it in the bank under the kids' names.
Second sister-in-law, dare you. Sister-in-law, dare you. Mom, can you loan us 200? Just lend it to us.
I don't have that much. Your husband's useless. Can't come up with the cash. Don't count on me.
Mom, I am borrowing it. I'll pay it back.
All right. Enough. This house goes to Victor.
Fine. Then this afternoon, second sister-in-law move out of the house. Or else I'll throw all your stuff out.
All right. Eldest house, Victor's house, and the grain. All go to Victor and Jenny. That's it. It's settled.
Chief! Jenny Summers, give me back the bedding. I lent you. Who needs it? Here. I didn't use this junk. If something happens, don't blame me. Just you wait!
Jenny, my leave is ending.
When is it?
I have to leave this afternoon, otherwise I won't make it back on time. Anyway, we've split up. They have no reason to bully you now. Oh, right, after I leave, if you have trouble, go to third sister-in-law. She's a sensible person.
Is the leave that short?
Oh, right. Here's the money and coupons. Keep them safe. Buy some grain and furniture, set up the house. Whatever's left, buy yourself. Something you like.
So much. Didn't you give it all to your mom?
I gave Mom 10. We're married now. The rest goes to my wife.
Okay. I'll go make dinner. Stay for dinner first.
Sure.
Bella! William! Come eat!
Take a seat.
Egg noodles, sweet potato, braised pork.
Dig in.
It is not even New Year. Why make so much food? Wasteful woman.
You little brat! Who taught you that?
Grandma said that.
Grandma was wrong. Don't say that again. Do you hear me?
Alright. He knows he's wrong. Let's eat. It'll get cold.
You just spoiled them.
Here, have some, Bella.
I put some eggs and steamed buns in your bag. Don't forget to eat. Also, nuts and cookies. When you get to the base, share them with your mates. Out there, you need friends.
You are the best.
Uncle Victor, where are you going?
Bella, Uncle's going to work. When I finish working, I'll buy you candy. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Good. William, be good at home.
Take care on the way.
I am off.
Okay.
Bye, Uncle.
Goodbye. Be good.
Even though the space has everything, this room is so ugly. After all, it is my wedding room. I have to find a way to decorate it. I can go shopping. Anyway, Victor has already given me the money.
Hello, how much is that?
The wardrobe. That big wardrobe. This wardrobe costs $25. Got it. Even if you do, you need a coupon.
Oops, forgot. Nowadays, you need money and coupons. What should I do?
Can't afford it. Get lost. Don't block others. Hey, what is with your attitude? I am here to buy. I am a customer. This is a state store, your attitude. How do you serve the people? That is my attitude. Buy it or not. Don't give me labels.
You!
Last time, It was the same clerk, Susan Doyle. I think she's so snobby. If you buy little, she'll mock you.
That is too much. This is a state store, not her own shop. Why is she so arrogant? Report her.
You don't know. Her uncle is the security chief. Complaining is useless. If you do, next time, she'll give you trouble and won't sell to you.
Get your manager. I am reporting you.
Why are you arguing with the customer again? Sorry about this. Our sales clerk was impolite.
Manager, this country bumpkin is picking a fight. She wants a cabinet but has no money. She is holding up other customers.
As a clerk, serve the people. I am warning you. Even if your uncle is security chief, if you do this again, pack your things and get out.
She didn't buy anything. How am I supposed to serve her? Who said I am not buying anything?
Hello, I'd like 5 pounds of rice, 5 pounds of flour, 3 pounds of oil, also 5 pounds of cotton, and a bag of milk powder, and the rest all in fruit candy.
That's a fortune.
Whose wife is she?
Ma'am, are you sure? You need so much.
Money and coupons are here. Can it be fake?
All right. Wait a moment. I'll get them for you. Your husband is a soldier.
How did you know?
Military coupons are different special markings. Since you are a military family, about the cabinet. If you have the money, you can take it now. The coupon, bring it later when you have it.
That's wonderful. Here's 25. Check it.
Who is your husband? Which village?
She looks like Victor Lee's new wife.
What? You are Victor's wife!
Susan, stop talking! Do you want to make it worse? Go! Clean the warehouse!
Just you wait!
Be careful. Take it slow. Right here is fine. Come on.
What a spendthrift. Vic just left, and she is wasting money.
Victor! Is Victor here?
Victor!
Susan, what brings you here? Vic's already married.
Who says married can't get divorced, right? Victor! Victor!
Vic's not home.
Aunt Linda, if it weren't for Victor's infertility, we'd be married by now.
It is done. Saying more won't change anything.
Mother-in-law, who are you talking to?
It is you. Here to move our wardrobe.
I am not your family's laborer. How could Victor ever look at you?
Stop calling him Victor so affectionately. My husband only has one sister, Chloe Lee, working in the city, not some shameless sister, trying to steal others' husbands. Don't come here to ruin my husband's name.
Me, steal a man. Victor always liked me. Victor and I grew up together. I am the one.
You, even 70s homewreckers, are this arrogant, even to my face. You dare run your mouth.
Aunt Linda! How dare you hit me?
You are so spoiled. What do you mean my husband likes you? You came here to ruin my husband's reputation. If you like being a slut, go find men somewhere else. If you dare do this again, I'll rip your mouth off.
Jenny Summers, you're way too aggressive. Even if Susan was rude, you can't hit her. Do you know who her uncle is?
Who cares who he is? She is trying to be a mistress. Who else should I hit?
Aunt Linda, how could you let Victor marry such a shrew as his wife? She talks to you like that. If I were her, I'd treat you with respect.
Sure. Then you pay her $10 a month for her care. Take good care of your mother-in-law.
Aunt Linda, look at her!
You're a shrew. Ever since you married into our family, it's been non-stop chaos. Your family has no money or skills. You're no good either. You earn so little, yet you spend like crazy. You have no manners at all. You're simply...
You, go home and take your meds. Don't die on our doorstep. Bad luck.
You! Aunt Linda, if I were your daughter-in-law, I'd never speak like that. Here is what you do. Write Victor a letter and divorce that shrew.
I'll go write Vic to divorce you.
Fine. I don't mind at all. But if Victor's unit finds out his life is such a mess,
Will they cut his pay? If his pay gets cut next month, no one will support you.
Great! Look at me. I almost ruined Vic's life. Susan, stop the fuss. Just go now.
So what if she's rich without coupons? She can't buy anything.
Aunt Jenny, what is wrong?
Money is easy, coupons are hard. No coupons, no shopping. So frustrating.
Aunt Jenny, I heard there is a black market to trade goods for coupons.
Black market?
Where is it?
White flour, polished rice,
Hey, what do you have for sale?
flour and rice, beef, lamb and pork, all here.
Meat! These are good stuff. How much you got?
Not much. 10 kilos.
What about the rice and flour? How much you got? I'll take it all.
No, I don't want cash. I want coupons. Especially for wardrobes or furniture coupons.
Coupons are rare. But I only have one wardrobe coupon left. How much meat can I get? I'll pay the rest. Don't worry. You won't lose out.
Deal? You are a straight shooter. How about this? Give me the coupon and add $10. Take all. These stuff.
All right. Deal.
But, miss, these stuff, where did you get them? Any more in stock? How much? I'll take it all.
Where'd you get them? I can't say, but don't worry. It is not illegal.
As for stock, I don't think you can afford it.
Don't ask too much. Later, if I need coupons, I'll come here. If you need stuff, come find me here.
All right, miss, it is a deal.
Let's go.
Ha. Take care.
All right.
Miss, any meat left. Flour or rice works too.
Any flour left? I want meat.
I have coupons.
Tomorrow. Come back tomorrow.
What time tomorrow?
Just coupons. Here they come. This and this. I'll take them all.
Oh my, what a spendthrift! What a wasteful woman!
What's the big deal?
Look at her! What a life! Why are you so useless?
Nice bike. When I visit home, I'll ride you there. No need for the wagon. Try this. It is sweet.
Jenny, are you home?
Autumn. Today's the day you go home, right? These are the steam buns I just made. Take them back to your family.
You're too kind.
Come, try my kanji. David and I already ate. I'll pass. You had Lucas call me over. Is there something you need help with? I am going home today, so could you watch the kids? He won't go with second sister-in-law or mom. Sister-in-law or mom. Second sister-in-law or mom. Second sister-in-law or mom.
Oh.
Autumn. Come. Jenny, what are you doing? Autumn. Sorry to trouble you. Take them home for the day. My thanks. Oh, it is too much. Besides, David and I, we feel for the kids, but we can't afford it. Now seeing them doing well, I should thank you. This gift, I can't take this.
Autumn, just take it. Here.
All right. Then I'll take the kids home.
Thank you.
So good.
Have some more.
These are for my daughter when she comes home. How could you steal them?
Look who's talking. White buns on the table. Aren't they for eating? How is it stealing?
We haven't split up. Why say that? White buns, are they yours?
What are you doing? Is there any order here?
David! Over a few buns, you hit your brother!
Ma, Mary made these for Jenny! Homecoming gift!
A married daughter is like spilled water! These white buns! Letting her eat them is wasting food!
That is my own! Using my own work points to exchange for flowers!
You're mine. So clear cut. If you're so capable, 明白了. You two move out. Live on your own. Let's see who take care of you.
Fine. So I don't have to suffer your nonsense. So I don't have to deal with your nonsense.
Jenny, you're back. Let's go. Don't argue with Grandma. Let's go inside.
Alright. Didn't you say we should split up? I think splitting up is a good idea.
Oh! Split up? Come on. Ask your parents. Do they dare split up? When the time comes, when they die, no one will mourn for them. They'll have to rely on our lucky nephew. When the time comes, he'll support you.
Count on him. That good for nothing. Support you in old age. Can he afford it?
Say that again! I'll kill you! Let's see who dares touch my daughter!
Mom, Dad. Let's split up. Look at this. What kind of life is this? Even a corn bun has to be split in half.
If we split up and you don't have a job, who will support us?
Today, I'll say this. If you dare split up, I'll support you. If you still don't see sense and stay with them, then you suffer on your own. This is my last time coming home. Didn't you say married daughters are like spilled water? Oh, you, that married loser, support your parents. Tell me, what will you use to support them? How I support my parents is none of your business. You won't get a cent.
You! How dare you curse me, second son! Look at your daughter! Oh, I am livid. I am livid. Second son, you can't even control your daughter. How did I give birth to such a wimp?
Split! Split up!
What did you say? Split up. Good. Listen up. When we split up, you won't take anything from this house.
What's in this house? White flour buns?
With your ambition, you'll never eat 4 dishes.
You!
Mom, Dad, let's go. Inside.
It is for the best. From now on, we won't have to suffer their nonsense. Yeah. The white buns I steamed for you. You didn't even taste them.
It is okay, Mom. Just think of it as feeding the dogs.
But you came home today. Your mom and I couldn't even prepare a proper meal for you. If word gets out, your mom and I won't be able to show our faces.
Jenny, I am sorry.
It is. Who said we didn't prepare? Look. Today, we eat meat till we're full.
How did you bring so many good things? Is the Lee family this well off?
You brought so many things home. Doesn't your in-laws mind?
They can't stop me. We've split up. Besides, my Victor gets a monthly $40 allowance. It's enough.
Jenny, your husband, makes how much? 40 a month?
40, Mom. Didn't you say the Lees are poor? I should have married him.
Hey, when did I say that? I mean, the 4th Lee's son can't have kids. Which woman wouldn't suffer? Eavesdropping in broad daylight. Eavesdrop if you want. But don't gossip about my son-in-law. Or Jenny isn't suffering.
Mary, that's not right. After all, Jenny's a Summers. I'm just worried about her.
Worried about me. Don't bother.
Hey, Jenny, how about this? Ask your husband to lend me some cash. I'll get Shirley a new dress.
No need. In our home, I handle the money.
That is great. Then you'll...
Want to borrow? No.
Jenny, Victor treats you so well. Lets you manage the money. You must cherish him. Okay?
Mom, don't worry. Since we're splitting up, let's do it. If you have any trouble, just tell me. Who says only sons? Daughters are the same. All right, Mom, don't cry. Go back. I am off. Don't cry.
Okay, take care. Victor is so good to you! You must treat him well, okay?
Stomach hurts. No one's here, right?
Chloe, you are so good to me.
Jack Evans. That girl is...
Chloe Lee.
Chloe, you are so good to me.
Jack, this is half a pound of meat and 3 eggs. I brought them from home. You are a scholar. You need more meat for your brain.
Chloe, when I return to the city, I'll never let you down.
Jack, you are the best. I'll go back and bring you 2 white buns. Hey!
Chloe, don't go yet. Stay with me, okay?
Chloe Lee. That is Victor's little sister. Isn't she working in the city? How could she be with that bastard Jack Evans?
We're getting married anyway. Don't be shy.
Stop it!
What? Don't you want to marry me?
Of course.
Why be shy? Let me give you a kiss!
Disgusting.
Jack, someone's here. I gotta go.
Oh no! What a world! We've been robbed by a family member. The half-pound of meat I just bought is now hanging on someone else's roof as cured meat.
Grace King, what is her latest drama?
You can guard against everything, but not a thief in the family. Victor's new wife looks like a decent person, but who knew? She's a thief.
Exactly! I don't know what Victor sees in her. Her family's no good, and she's got sticky fingers.
I think it is possible. Autumn stole it. I smelled it at noon. Meat was cooking in their house.
Second sister-in-law, Jenny gave me this meat. I stir-fried some this morning. There was some left, so I thought I'd make it into jerky and hung it here to dry. I had no idea it was from your house.
Don't try to wash your hands clean. If Jenny's a thief, you are her accomplice. Give me back the meat. As for the rest, I'll settle with you later.
You can't go in. It is not your meat. Who wants your meat? I'd get diarrhea eating it. Second aunt is bad. My family doesn't steal. Second aunt is a villain.
Get out of my way, or I'll hit you.
Hey, why'd you hit the kid? You slander me, fine, but you dare bully my kids. If I don't teach you a lesson today, I am not Jenny Summers.
Third sister-in-law, take the kids inside first.
You shrew! Who is the shrew? Calling me a thief for stealing your meat and eggs. Making a scene here, taking it out on my kids. Who is the shrew? Caught red-handed. Still denying it. Fine. Only your family gets meat. We can't have any, right? Fine. Then call it. Does it answer? You are just a scoundrel. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. That is Victor's wife. What a scoundrel. Make the jerky answer. How can it answer?
Exactly. Grace, don't bother with her. She won't listen. Here is what we'll do. I'll get my uncle and the security team. Let's see you deny it then.
What's all this? Move!
Uncle, perfect timing. Arrest this meat thief. Uncle, perfect timing. Arrest this meat thief.
What's going on?
Susan's uncle, perfect timing. Half a pound of meat and 3 eggs stolen. Look, caught red-handed.
Where's the thief?
Uncle, it is her.
Oh, Victor's new wife. You look like a decent person. Why are you such a thief?
I am innocent, but did you brush your teeth?
You
say I stole it, which I saw it. Innocent until proven guilty. Do you understand?
What? What is that? What are you saying? Tell me. Did you steal this meat?
No!
Prove it. Prove you didn't steal it.
I don't have to. Since you say I stole it, you should provide the proof, not me.
What? I prove? Mie, are you out of your mind? I'm the security chief. I say you stole it. You stole it. There's a witness and the evidence. Yet you still deny it.
Oh, Uncle, don't waste time. She is a stubborn shrew. Arrest her now.
Jenny Summers, you gave this meat to Autumn. You say you didn't steal it from Grace. Then where did you get it?
Yeah, where'd you get it?
What to do? I can't say I got it from my space, right?
Can't say it? Take her away.
You?
Oh no! Aunt Jenny didn't steal it! Don't take Aunt Jenny! Aunt Jenny is good!
Oh no, William, Bella, don't be fooled by this shrew. She's after Uncle Victor's money. That's why she's nice.
Susan Doyle, in front of the kids, what nonsense are you spouting? Keep it up, and I'll rip your mouth off.
Uncle, look! She is not just a thief. She is a total shrew. Take her away. Teach her a lesson.
Yeah. Take her away. Break it up.
Hey, Jack, this is half a pound of meat and 3 eggs. I brought them from home. You're a scholar. You need more meat for your brain.
Wait a sec. I didn't steal it. I know who did. How dare you? Even Victor's sister you dare frame. When Victor returns, see what he does to you.
It is Jenny Summers. You've gone too far. Victor's sister has always been obedient. How could she do such a thing?
Chloe, whatever it is, just tell the truth. Susan will help you out.
Chloe, where did you go?
Summers? Village.
How did you know? Jenny Summers, don't give me that nonsense!
You took Grace's meat and eggs and gave them to Jack. I saw it all. If you don't admit it, I'll have them. Search Jack's place. He's done for.
What are you up to now? Get lost. Hey,
Chloe, did you take it?
just tell us. Well, how about I take you to Summers Village? We'll find it.
No, I took it. Grace, the meat and eggs. I took them.
Love-struck fool, so easy to manipulate.
Chief, this! Arrest her! Well,
Move, all of you! Arrest who? It is our family stuff, so she took it.
Mom, how could you?
Don't call me Mom. It is just some oil and 3 eggs. Want to send your sister-in-law to jail. All these years, haven't I given you enough money? Are you even human?
Mom, I know. I didn't mean to get Chloe in trouble.
Ha! You wanna get me. Ha ha! You can't.
Hey, you!
Aunt Linda.
And you! Stay out of our family matters. Why call the security? What are you up to? Go! Hey! All of you! What are you looking at? Go! Get out!
William, Bella, come, let's go home.
Ouch!
William! William! What's wrong? William!
Ouch! My stomach hurts!
Doctor! Doctor! Please save my child!
Doctor, how is my boy?
Am I going to die?
Not at all. Long-term malnutrition caused the gastritis. Chinese herbs will help.
Then please give us some medicine, or an injection is fine.
No injection needed. It is just...
We'll pay whatever it takes.
Aunt Jenny, if it is too expensive, I don't need it.
Silly boy. Nonsense. No matter how poor we are, I'll sell everything to save you, okay?
Could you keep it down? It is not about money.
Then, what is it?
It is just that the clinic has few herbs.
Then, Western medicine. Can he take that?
He is too young. Plus the long-term malnutrition, he might not tolerate Western meds.
My space only has Western meds. What do we do?
The herbs on the mountain are quite abundant, but you can't pick them. They belong to the collective.
It is an emergency. My son's life matters. Look, whatever herbs, you draw them all. Okay.
Okay, I'll get them. Third sister-in-law. These 2 days, please take care of the kids.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Stealing collective herbs? You are dead this time.
Beporum, Coptus, Cyprus. Got them all. Just need Romania.
Not sure if this snake is venomous. Just in case, let me try. The miracle spring water. Great! Thank goodness for the spring water.
Linda.
Yes? I have something big to tell you. Jenny Summers went digging for collective herbs again. She is up the mountain.
Are you telling the truth?
Absolutely true. I saw her with my own eyes digging herbs up the mountain. Who knows if she is selling them? If that is the case, that is illegal profiteering. It'll ruin Victor's entire future.
I won't let that slut ruin. Vic, I am going after her.
Aunt Linda, sit down. Sit. Calm down first. She is probably not back yet.
I am livid. How could I have been so blind to let a woman like her marry into the Lee family?
Aunt, how about tomorrow? I'll go with you to report her.
Report her? Are you saying we should turn ourselves in? What about Vic? What about Vic? If Vic gets implicated, how will we live?
Aunt Linda, you can't think like that. If we report her now, then we distance ourselves from Jenny. As for Victor, he won't be affected. But if we don't, and she gets caught profiteering, Victor's future will be ruined.
Right. You're right.
I'll report her tomorrow.
I can't go on! I can't go on! Come see this! Oh, my new daughter-in-law has a black heart. Come judge for me.
Come see this! Victor's new wife is profiteering and ruining him.
What is all this noise?
Oh, Mr. Carter, my new daughter-in-law, is she even human?
Oh. What a spectacle! Stand up and speak.
Mr. Carter, my daughter-in-law went up the mountain to sell herbs. That is profiteering. My Vic is in the army. She is ruining him.
What? Is that true?
No, Mr. Carter. Jenny's getting herbs for William. She had no choice. That's why she went. For his illness. Does that justify profiteering?
Exactly. They're separate issues.
Exactly. Who knows if it's for William or to steal herbs to sell? She's always spending money. Could it be she's selling to spend? Victor married her. He must have been cursed.
Get a divorce, then it is over.
Don't talk about my mom.
Ouch! You little brat! Let go!
Bella!
Oh my, Mr. Carter. Just get them divorced already. We can't let this ruin our family.
Both parties must be present. Neither is here now. Besides, whether this is true is still unclear. We can't jump to conclusions.
My daughter-in-law isn't even home. She must be up the mountain picking herbs. It is as clear as day. There is no denying it.
Exactly. Mr. Carter, here is the plan. Get my uncle. take the security team and go bust Jenny Summers. We'll catch her red-handed.
All right, let's go. Move out.
What are you doing here?
Well, Jenny, you are back. Let me give you a good search. Did you hide any herbs on you?
What are you doing?
Stop it! You stole collective herbs. How dare you ask?
Jenny, the herbs on the mountain are community property. How could you steal them?
I didn't do it. Then why did you go there? I was chopping wood. Is that a crime, Mr. Carter?
Of course not. You really didn't pick any herbs.
Just search me then. Search me. If you find any, I'll admit it. What if you don't find any?
What do you want?
Susan Doyle keeps framing me. Just because her uncle is the security chief, she thinks she's above the law? If you don't find any, you go to jail.
Threatening me? Bring it on.
No! Impossible!
You! Where did you hide the herbs?
Where could I hide it? Everyone saw it. I just got back. How could I hide it?
Search her house! She must have hidden it!
Enough!
Mr. Carter.
Jenny was clearly collecting firewood and picking mushrooms. How can you slander her, huh? You got nothing better to do.
Mr. Carter, calm down. Susan was just reporting a violation. She was thinking of the community.
You never do your work. You gossips. All you do is spread rumors. If this happens again, I won't go easy on you. Let's go!
Mr. Carter. This isn't over yet, is it? Susan Doyle keeps slandering me. Keeps slandering me. This can't just end here.
What do you want?
Isn't slander a crime? As security chief, are you blind?
You!
Fine. I'll look into it.
What's there to investigate? She framed me for stealing pork. Now she's framing me for stealing herbs. You saw both incidents, right? Can't you be fair?
Mr. Carter, what do you think?
Uncle, search her house. She must have hidden it.
Chief Carter, better safe than sorry. We can't let her go. Let's search the house.
Oh, come on. Don't make this worse.
Chief Carter, search it. What if it is there? Don't let this ruin Vic's future.
Exactly. I agree. Search. Your support means nothing. This is my house. Oh, look at her. She's guilty. If you really didn't steal the herbs, let them search. Just a bit. What is the big deal? I refuse.
You refuse? Your call. Search the house.
Hey! No search! No evidence! Why search my house? You're bullying me!
So, what can you do?
So what? What can you do? Your family's nobody. Married in Lee Village. Husband's not around. So what? What can you do?
What are you waiting for? Search the house.
Hey, no search! You can't search! Chief! No search!
Who dares mess with my wife? Who dares mess with my wife?
Victor!
Vic, aren't you in the army?
If I hadn't come back, would I just watch you bully my wife?
Why are you back?
I got discharged early. From now on, no one dares bully you. Upon my return, I've been appointed security chief.
You, security chief! Then me! What about me? Mr. Carter! Is there an appointment?
Chief, take a look.
All right. This is indeed the official appointment.
You two. One abuses power. The other slanders. Should I take you in for an investigation?
Nonsense! I've done nothing wrong!
Exactly! We didn't do what some people did! Stealing collective herbs and exploiting the system!
You want a piece of that? Victor, tell me, the general store clerk wearing a red flag watch, is there something fishy going on?
Take them away! Bring them back for questioning.
Chief!
About this watch, it is like this!
Vic, you get some rest. We'll head back.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. Go check on William at the clinic.
William,
What is wrong with him?
William is sick. That's why I went to pick herbs. Go now. I'll go change.
Okay. Go ahead.
Victor! Why are you back?
I got discharged early. You've worked hard.
Not at all. Did you get the herbs?
Got them. Let's go see the doctor. You are discharged. Do you still get benefits?
Don't worry, from now on, 10 a month. I'll earn some work points. I can support us.
Well, I'll have to support the family now.
Both of you. Think it over. What have you done? Confess now and get leniency.
Mr. Carter, we're neighbors. No need to make a big deal. Besides, it is not that much. Zip it!
Have some water.
The kids are asleep.
Jenny, what are you reading? So focused.
Learning some first aid.
Medicine? You joining the clinic?
Remember when William was sick, I was terrified. I figured since I have the time, so I am learning. That way, if someone gets sick, even if the clinic is closed, I won't panic.
You really think of everything. Hey, Jenny, you know, even though we're married, we never had a proper wedding.
Marrying you is enough for me.
No way. We must have a wedding, don't you think?
Your call.
Right. This is for you.
A watch.
Wedding gift.
Then why not give it at the wedding?
Too many people at the wedding. I was afraid of losing it. Let's go to bed. Jenny, I had a tailor in town make this. See if it fits.
That must be expensive. I can just wear the one Mom gave me.
What your mom gave you was your wedding dress. When we get married, if people see you wearing that old dress, they'll say we look down on you.
Stop it.
Try it on. Are you hungry? I'll make you something.
Dinner's ready.
Victor, does this look good on me?
Wow, Mom looks beautiful.
Speechless.
Oh. Number. Let's eat.
Victor! Is Victor home? Victor!
What's up, Grace?
Nothing much. I heard from Aunt Jane you rode to town this morning. So I came to see if you needed help. Maybe I can help you out.
Where I go is none of your business.
I am just worried about you.
Perfect timing. We're having a wedding tomorrow. Since you are here, I don't have to tell you now.
That dress is beautiful. Must have cost a fortune.
I had it made just for her. She deserves the best.
Don't forget about the wedding tomorrow.
If it weren't for that vixen, Victor's money would support the family. Now she's squandered it all.
Eat!
Come on over. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Enjoy the food and drinks.
Dig in, everyone.
Come, sit down, have a seat.
That little vixen spending Vic's money, acting like she is so generous.
Exactly. Mom, look at her wedding dress. Victor had it custom made. I asked around. It cost
$2. She is not worth more than that.
20.
What? What a waste.
Mom, let's not.
Me? If I don't speak up, that wife of yours will walk all over you.
Some people can't stand it when others are loved. While they're not. Right, honey?
What are you doing?
All you do is eat.
What is wrong now? We paid for this. It'd be a waste not to eat.
Enough. Psycho.
Mommy, congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Bella. What a sweetie.
Mommy, William has something to say too.
Little William, what is it?
Congratulations, and thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. William?
Begin.
Jenny, tonight's our wedding night.
Yeah.
Jenny.
Yeah.
You're so adorable.
Don't push yourself.
Push myself.
You aren't you.
I can't?
Yeah.
Let me show you what I can do.
Why do they say you can't? They spread such lies. Don't you deny it.
Can't blame them. I started the rumor.
You?
Yeah. Too many matchmakers. I didn't want to marry. So.
Then why? Marry me.
I didn't know. My family arranged a marriage. Once I found out, I rushed back immediately. I wanted to call it off.
Then why didn't you?
It is because my wife is too beautiful.
You liked my nightgown, didn't you? Just wait. I'll put it on. Darling, do I look good?
Beautiful. Not sleeping tonight.
Keep it down. The kids are still up. Victor.
Jenny!
You're here.
Right on time today. Go ahead. What coupons do you need?
I'd like some industrial coupons.
Sure. 3 industrial coupons. Here you go.
好嘞. Take all of these.
Alright.
How many in your family need this much meat?
You won't tell me where the meat's from, so don't ask about my family. Alright, I'll see you in a couple days.
Sure.
Take it.
Eggs! 30 cents each. Take a look.
Eggs, 20 cents each.
You want to play dirty. Don't say I didn't warn you.
Eggs! 10 cents.
10 cents an egg. 10 cents. 10, please.
Sure.
All right, take care.
Eggs, 8 cents each.
Eggs! 5 cents. 5 cents each.
20 eggs, please.
20. Sure. 3 left. They're free.
All right.
You did that on purpose.
What? You can undercut me, but I can't fight back.
Sounded like this. You are trying to run us out of business, aren't you?
Look who is talking. You started stealing my customers.
She did it on purpose.
Think what you want.
Don't move.
What are you doing?
Get lost! You okay? You okay?
I am fine. Thank you. I thought you'd left.
I did, but I remember something. I forgot to say.
What is it?
Doing business here isn't a long-term plan. I heard they're cracking down. Be careful.
Though street vending isn't clamped down, it is still risky. It is not a long-term plan.
Thanks for the heads up. I'll be careful. I'll get going now.
Hey, one more thing. You asked me how many in my family. There are over 100 of us.
You're kidding, right?
I am the director of the state herb factory. Name's Henry Young.
Oh, I see. That makes sense. How could a family have 100 people?
Here is the thing. Our factory workers need to eat every day. Our cafeteria chef is about to retire. You have so much stock. Why not work in our cafeteria? I can help you get an urban hukou.
Forget the job. If you want to feed your workers, I can open a shop right outside your factory.
Open a shop. How about it? This place is factory property. It is just sitting empty. I'll let you use it. How about it?
Perfect. Just needs a little cleaning.
But Jenny, let me warn you. Though the country is easing up on private trade, it is still risky.
Have you ever heard a saying?
What's that?
The bigger the waves, the pricier the fish.
What thing? Never heard it. Oh, right. Opening a shop is a big deal. Can you decide on your own? I suggest you go home and discuss it with your husband.
For something like this, I really should tell Victor. I wonder if he...
Thanks for the heads up, Director Young. I'll go discuss it with him. Should be fine.
All right. I'll be waiting to hear from you. All right. Let me be clear. I am not here for the rent. I am doing this for my men, so they eat well.
Got it.
Big, are you home?
Mom, what brings you in, Chloe? Come on in. Hey.
Mom, have a seat. Come sit.
This sofa, this cabinet must have cost a fortune, right?
Hey.
Look at your wife. She has no sense of frugality. How can she manage a household?
All right, Mom, you just got here and you were picking on Jenny. Look, we've split up. We live our own lives now, okay? Have some water.
Mom's just wanting you to have a good life. Would Mom ever hurt you?
Fourth brother, you cook here. Doesn't Jenny cook?
Exactly.
Hey, where's Jenny? How can a man cook while the wife sits idle?
All right, she's out. I just cook sometimes, okay?
She is a woman. What is with all the running around? Showing her face everywhere. What a disgrace.
All right, Mom. Stop picking on Jenny. Let's get to the point, okay?
about Chloe. You know so many people here, and you have so many friends. See if you can find Chloe another job in the city.
Chloe, the job I found for you in town. You quit after a few days and ran back. Why do you want to work now?
He
is returning home. Can't bear it. Want to follow him. No, I didn't.
It is she. What does she mean by that?
It is... How would I know?
Alright, let's talk later. Okay, you must be hungry. Dinner's almost ready. Mom, stay for dinner with Chloe. We'll talk later.
Mom, have some.
Oh, we've split up. How dare I eat your food?
Mom, what do you mean by that? I don't like what you said. You are still my mom.
But some don't treat me as mom. She minds me eating here, with a stinking face all the time.
Mom, are you talking about me?
Who else? Huh, since I sat down, you've been scowling. Hey, how much for this meal? I'll pay, okay?
Mom, what do you take me for?
Everyone knows what you are. Since you married in, our family hasn't been at peace. Take it.
Fourth brother, don't blame Jenny.
Why would I blame my wife?
Mom, look what you've done. You are paying to eat at my house. What? If this gets out, how am I supposed to live?
How dare you blame me? Look at your wife.
Did Jenny ask you to pay?
She has been scowling the whole time.
I was just...
Mom, Jenny might be thinking about something. Oh, or maybe she's not feeling well. Why do you think she's picking on you? Mom, you're just picking on her.
I was just spacing out, but it is definitely not. Because I mind you eating here. I am not that petty.
Spacing out? Spacing out about what? A woman's place is to serve her man. What is on your mind?
Enough. Let's eat.
I want to open a restaurant.
Aunt Jenny, is it like the state cafeteria in town?
Open a restaurant? Vic, did you hear that? Your wife?
She wants to open a restaurant.
I heard.
What's this?
What?
That's profiteering! Jenny Summers, what are you up to? Are you trying to ruin Vic's life?
Mom, comma, ... It is not that serious.
Don't think I am uneducated. I know profiteering is a crime. Hey, she is your wife. You two are married. If she goes to jail, your life is over.
Mom, calm down. It is not open yet.
I am definitely opening this restaurant.
Look for yourself. Jenny Summers, you are here to ruin us, aren't you? You want to destroy us, don't you?
I am here to lead your family to prosperity. In a few years, everyone will own their own business.
Bullshit!
Mom, enough. I heard the same in the city. There are rumors.
Don't you dare gang up on me. About this, I don't agree.
Don't need your approval. Our life, we can handle ourselves.
You!
Mom, are you okay?
Mom.
How's your mom?
Well, she's fine. Just high blood pressure. She's resting now.
Victor, let's get a divorce. I know I'm not a good wife. Sharp-tongued, fiery, always meddling, can't take care of others, can't get along with Mom.
I don't want to hear this. I never thought you were bad. You say you're fiery, sharp-tongued? That's 'cause they tried to bully you. If you'd back down, that's when I'd look down on you. As for you meddling, what did you do? You just wanted us to live better. What's wrong with that? As for Mom, her temper, even I can't stand it sometimes. But as her son, I must honor her, support her. As my wife, just do your best.
Okay.
You really think that?
Jenny, never say Divorce again. We'll live a good life. We'll take care of William and Bella. When life settles down, we'll have a baby of our own.
But I gave your mom high blood pressure. Aren't you mad?
She is just hot-tempered. Besides, you didn't say anything.
Actually, Mom isn't to blame. After all, hardly anyone has a shop. Opening a shop isn't a must. But I came all this way. So I thought, if I don't ride the train, it is a waste.
Came all this way? To where?
I mean, if you don't want the shop,
Jenny, wait a sec. I'll get something for you.
What is it? 1,000,000. You've got over 1,000 in savings.
Well, this is all I've saved over the years. I was saving it for you. Now you want a restaurant, and I can't help much. Take this money.
What if I lose it all?
So what if we lose it? As long as we're together, life will get better.
Mommy, why are you biting Uncle Victor? Bad dreams scared sleep with Mommy.
Jenny, on this joyous day, say a few words to us.
Plenty to eat. Come on in.
Hey, that is it. Say a bit more.
The state diner is watching. Keep it down.
Hey, come on in. Welcome. Please.
Let's go, everyone. Go.
Hey, matron. The herb factory cafeteria is back in business. From now on, fewer people will come here.
So be it. I'd be glad if no one comes.
Sure, it is easier. But if we don't meet our sales targets, will we get a pay cut?
Can't meet it. We're saving food for the country.
Matron really sees the big picture. Oh, right, matron. Why is it called Jenny's Country Kitchen? Shouldn't it be called State Herb Factory Cafeteria?
How would I know? All right. Stop staring. Go sweep the floor and wipe the tables. All you do is eat seeds. Are you a squirrel?
How is it? The veggies and meat still fresh, right?
Not bad. Better than our old cafeteria.
I heard you just pay cash here. No meat coupons. Well, not exactly. How could we not need coupons? That would be disrupting the market.
Right. So...
Well, no coupons. You can owe them, right?
Oh, got it. Keep the cash. We'll owe the coupons. We'll bring them later.
Sure. Take care.
No meat coupons. That's so weird.
Jenny, how was it?
Take a guess.
10. 15.
30.
30. 30 a day. That's 900 a month.
We can work a bit harder and aim for 4 figures.
Hey, honey, what about the meat coupons? If the workers can't pay them back, we're in trouble.
Don't worry.
Jenny, you might not know. Veggies are fine, but meat needs coupons. How much meat you get, you need that many coupons. If you can't pay them back, we're in big trouble. Jenny, the meat's in the kitchen. I never saw you stock up.
Oh, William. Bella, are you full? Let's get ready to go home. You don't have to help tomorrow. After all, you're the new security chief. Staying here all day isn't proper.
Got it.
Sales are getting worse by the day. Today, we didn't even make $10. Tomorrow, go tell the kitchen staff to get their act together. Stop slacking off all day. Make the food taste better.
From what I've seen, it is not our food. It is Jenny's country kitchen. They let you owe coupons.
Oh, coupons! No way. Workers from the factory can't owe coupons there. She gets supplies from the depot. Can't she owe coupons?
Hey, ma'am, do you think her meat is illegal? Not from the food supply depot?
The black market!
Possible. Let's report her. Besides, the security team is cracking down.
Reporting her isn't right.
Ma'am, do you know that woman across the street?
Not really. I asked around. She is from Summers Village, married to Victor Lee.
What's wrong with that? We're just keeping order, right?
You're right. That makes sense. But to report her, you need proof. You can't just say it, right? Do you have proof?
Hey, you just said that woman is Victor's wife.
Yeah.
Then I should be able to get some inside info.
It is a long night. Can't sleep because you miss me.
Oh, I came to talk to you.
Let's go inside!
Hey, stop it! Let me ask you something. That girl from Summers Village, Jenny Summers, do you know her?
Why bring her up?
Mrs. Lee. What? Change your mind? Willing to help now? Fourth brother told me I'll listen to him. Great. Then why stand there? Wash your hands and come help. Wow, so much. This is actually a slow day.
Mrs. Lee, how about tomorrow? I go to the grain depot for you. I used to work at the state diner and did these things.
No need. Just help out in the kitchen. All right. The workers will be back soon. Hurry and wash the veggies.
If not for Jack, I wouldn't work in this stuff. Sneaky.
Jack said she's up to something. Sure enough.
All done? Let's go home.
Mrs. Lee, my stomach hurts. You go ahead. I'll leave later. I'll look up.
Okay.
How is that possible?
It is true. Jenny's sister-in-law saw it herself.
She didn't go restock, but got eggs and meat. Who delivered it? From? Where?
I don't know either. But her sister-in-law saw it.
Could it be she has a tunnel? Right! They had an air raid shelter there. Will her sister-in-law testify?
Yes, she will. We've agreed.
Go! Report her!
Hey, Mr. Carter, heading somewhere.
Some kids are fighting. I'll check it out.
No need. I'll handle it.
Hey, you stay. Go back to the center.
Mr. Carter, why not let the captain come?
Avoid suspicion.
Check, please.
Coming.
4X, 2 tails. Put the coupons on tap.
Sure. Come again.
No coupons needed? Then give me 10 pounds of tenderloin.
Jenny Summers, do you know what you are doing? You are disrupting the market.
If you are here to eat, welcome. If you are here to cause trouble, what don't you know? No one messes with Jenny Summers.
Chief Carter, did you hear that? What a shrew!
Chief Carter, what brings you here?
If I came any later, you'd have sucked the collective dry.
What do you mean?
Search the kitchen.
I don't understand. Is there maybe some kind of misunderstanding?
Jenny Summers, what have you done? Even if you don't care for yourself, think of your husband.
What did I do?
Chief, look.
These coupons, right?
This is the state herb factory cafeteria. The workers are on tab. That is not a problem, right?
I knew you'd say that. The tab isn't the issue, but I want to ask you, where did you get the meat, eggs, rice, and flour?
Oh no, how did they know?
Well, can't answer, huh? Of course I got it. From the grain and oil depot.
Bullshit! We've already checked. Every single egg and every piece of meat matches the coupons. They don't have what you have. Jenny Summers, I suggest you come clean, or else you'll get your husband in trouble.
I didn't steal it, and I didn't rob it.
If you didn't steal or rob, then where did it come from? Just tell us.
Is it possible I got it from the county, from the province, or maybe from the capital city?
Not impossible.
We can just check the county and find out.
Province, capital, go ahead.
She is lying. Chloe Lee, Mr. Carter, my sister-in-law, couldn't possibly have gone to the county or city to stock up. She never left the house. Every day after selling out, new stock arrives at night. Chloe, you've been spying on me.
Shut up! Do you know who delivered them?
Mr. Carter, there must be a secret collective meat and egg smuggling ring. Otherwise, how else can we explain it?
Exactly. Let's take her in. We'll definitely get something out of her.
Chloe Lee, I'm your sister-in-law. You're helping others slander me?
I stand with the truth. Your goods are of unknown origin.
I could slap you.
Enough! You gonna hit her? Take her away! Mr. Carter, this matter couldn't have been my wife. Victor, whether she is guilty will be clear after the investigation.
But she is innocent! What could be wrong?
Victor, stop this nonsense. Let me ask you, where did your wife get the meat and eggs? I don't know. There you go. Is it wrong to investigate?
But she didn't steal them. My wife isn't like that.
What criminal would tattoo on their face that they're a criminal? Victor, you are the security chief. Do I really have to tell you? Mr. Lee, you are trained by the state. You can't let personal feelings interfere.
Even if her meat and eggs weren't stolen, sir, but her actions disrupted the market. Sir, that's profiteering.
So, she is going to jail either way. I don't decide if she goes to jail. That is for the courts. I just need to get to the bottom of this. Fine. Investigate.
Hey! Conflict of interest! You are biased!
Director Young.
Captain Lee.
Director Young, you know about my wife.
I know everything. I told her from the start. Private business is risky. I told her to discuss it with you. Who knew? Now it is a mess.
Director Young, forget the private business. About the meat and eggs. Do you know what is going on?
How would I know? No, you didn't know. Jenny was at the black market selling lots of meat and eggs. I thought your family. Some special connections.
Black market?
Yeah. If she didn't have enough supplies, why would I let her run the cafeteria?
You can get these on the black market.
Of course you can.
Captain Lee! Where are you going?
You're free to go.
It is over.
Let's go.
Mommy, where have you been? I thought you left us.
Jenny, quick, jump over the basin. Wash away the bad luck.
You got me out. How did you do it?
Well, I am the security chief. I'll find a way. Get inside.
Jenny Summers, you jinxed! Why run a cafeteria? Look what you did. You caused such a mess. Look what you did to Vic. He got fired as security chief. This isn't over between us.
Mom! Can you just stop?
Victor,
What does she mean? So, you are saying the meat and eggs were bought from the black market?
Yes, Henry Young backed me up.
Security chief at the black market. So you got suspended.
So be it. I am still strong. I can do odd jobs to support you.
Thank you.
What are you saying? I am your husband. If you were in this situation and I turned a blind eye, would I be a man?
You really don't want to know how I got the meat and eggs?
Number? You'll tell me anyway.
Aren't you afraid I stole it?
I trust you. Mom knows Chloe reported you. She went home to deal with her.
Your sister was used.
Where are you going?
With Mom's temper, she'll kill Chloe.
Jenny, you knew Chloe reported you, yet you...
I don't blame her. She is sick.
What's wrong?
Love struck. Needs help.
It is me.
Jack, let's run away. Fourth brother lost his job for Jenny. If Mom finds out, she'll kill me.
Run away? What are you saying? We have no money or tickets. How can we run away?
I have it.
Look! So much.
Where did you get this?
I stole it from Mom. Let's go. You've been here for years. Don't you want to go home? With this money, we can start a new life.
Okay. I'll go back now. Wait for me outside town.
See, love struck is serious.
Follow Chloe. I'll deal with him.
You really think Jack will take you?
Country girls are so gullible. With this money, back in the city, I can live the high life. Take her with me. Dream on.
Stop.
Victor!
That box in your hand is stolen from my mom, right?
I didn't! Chloe gave this to me. Explain it to the security team.
Oh my, why am I so miserable? My oldest is gone. My second is a good for nothing. My third is distant. My fourth forgot his mother. And you wretch, for a man, you stole all my retirement money. What did I do to deserve this?
Scold Chloe if you want. Why drag me into it?
Exactly. You've spoiled her rotten.
Enough! Mom, even though I am married, I still honor you. Besides, the money and coupons are all back, right?
Keep it safe. Don't be mad. Anger hurts.
Are you afraid you can't marry? Have you no shame? Mom, let it go. Chloe knows she was wrong. Move! Get out of my way! Run now! Move!
All right.
Third plenary session convened. Focus on economic development. Emancipate the mind. Seek truth from facts. Allow some to get rich first.
Captain Lee.
Victor, did you hear the news? I really admire Mrs. Lee. She is so farsighted. Starting a business early. Your family will be the first to get rich.
It is all thanks to the policy. If you get rich first, don't forget to help us out. Deputy Chief Doyle, you are kidding.
Jenny, you've been working so hard. Take a break. Why are you staring? Something on my face.
Handsome.
Jenny, even though we're encouraged to work hard, you can't overdo it. Look, we're living so well now. Even if we have twins, 4 kids total, we can afford it.
You are hinting at something.
Jenny, don't you want a baby of our own?
Then What are we waiting for?
Jenny, I'll check if the kids are asleep so they don't interrupt us.
Jenny. They're asleep.
Come on up.
Coming.
Captain Lee! Captain Lee! It is an emergency! It is an emergency!
What do we do, Uncle?
Captain Lee! Please save my dad! Captain Lee!
Get up. Take it easy.
Captain Lee, it is life or death. Joey's dad went chopping wood this afternoon and hasn't returned. There are wolves back there.
All right, let's move. Uncle Lee, go with Uncle James and get wolf fighting tools. I'll get a shotgun. If we run into wolves, we can't go empty-handed.
All right. Should I get my boy? He knows some moves.
All right, meet at the back mountain.
Go, go, go!
He was out all night. I wonder what happened. My heart is racing. Why am I suddenly so anxious?
Uncle Lee, the path is rough. Take it slow. I chop wood here often. Don't worry. My dad usually gathers wood near the cave. If he got hurt, he might be hiding inside the cave. All right, let's go check it out.
Uncle Joe! Dad! I am by the cave entrance! Quick, help me!
Hey, Victor! Uncle Joe's by the cave! Let's go save him! Go!
Uncle Joe! Dad! Are you okay, Dad?
Uncle Joe,
I'm
okay?
fine.
There was a wolf.
All right, save your strength. I brought herbs. Let me wrap your wound.
Ouch.
Hurry. Hold your dad steady.
Gently, easy.
Joey, help me hold your dad's leg. Joe, this might hurt. Brace yourself.
Ouch! Gently!
Hang in there.
All right. Uncle Joe, bear with it. I'll help you back.
Captain Lee! Yes, movement! That wolf has some nerve, daring to come out in broad daylight.
Probably starving to death.
All right, Uncle Lee. Help Uncle Joe sneak out the back. I'll draw the wolf away.
Hey! No way! That beast is dangerous.
Don't worry. We'll be careful.
Don't worry, Dad. You go back now. We three can handle this.
All right, take care.
Go. Careful.
All right. You must be careful.
Go. Movement over there. Be careful. Wolves hunt in packs.
Understood. Captain Lee, take care.
I'll check ahead. Here, take this. Know how to use it.
Yes, I've hunted before, but Captain Lee, you gave me the gun. What about you?
Don't worry. Just stay safe. I was a soldier. I can handle myself.
All right. Take care.
I've got one here. Watch yourselves. They're ambushing us.
Hey, I've got one here too.
Left side too. We're surrounded. Shoot. Didn't you say you hunted?
Hunted rabbits.
Pick it up. Watch out.
Jenny, what is wrong today? You seem distracted.
I don't know. I just feel so uneasy.
He just didn't come home last night. He is busy at the center, and he is the security chief. It is normal to be busy.
No. I'm going home to check. You mind the shop?
Oh, sure.
Hola. How are you? Have you eaten? So... Oh my. Uncle Victor didn't make you dinner. Oh, Bella, you look so sad. Just wait. I'll go give him a piece of my mind.
Aunt Jenny, Uncle Victor went to catch wild wolves.
Catch wolves? We have meat at home.
Wolves attacked.
He should be back soon, right?
There's an accident.
Someone was bitten by wolves. They're taking him to the clinic. Victor! Hang in there, Victor. We're almost there. Dr. Ford!
Chief, where's Victor? Where's young Victor? How is Victor? Jenny, come in. Everyone else wait outside.
Okay.
Victor! Doctor, please save him. Jenny, calm down. I'll stop the bleeding first, then bandage him up. Victor's condition is critical. He needs a blood transfusion. It is now or never.
What are we waiting for? Get the wagon to the hospital. Stop talking and do it. Get your husband to bring the wagon.
Oh, I'll go now. We don't have a blood bank. We need to go to the county. What? How can he make it? No, can't move him. He can't go. I know Victor shouldn't be moved now, but we have no choice. We can't just watch him die. Is there no other way? Yes, their mother and son. She can donate blood.
Right, I have blood. I can do it. I can do it.
But we don't have the equipment. No, stay calm. Calm down.
Where's the second? Why isn't he here yet?
Victor, how are you doing?
Victor. Is the wagon here?
Yes, at the door.
Why are you standing there? Get him on the wagon. Quick, get him to the county.
Okay.
No! Don't touch my husband! Jenny Summers, your usual nonsense is one thing, but this is like this. Do you want him dead? Out! All of you out! Go out!
What do you mean? We're not saving Victor.
Get out! Jenny Summers! Open the door now! If anything happens to Vic, I swear I'll kill you!
Victor, I don't know if I can save you, but I know you won't make it to the county. Over 100 miles. I can't let you risk it.
Jenny Summers, open up. Open the door now, Jenny Summers! Are you trying to kill Vic? Do you want the inheritance? Open the door now!
Jenny Summers, don't be rash. Victor is your husband. If he dies, how will you live?
Mom, Grace, stop yelling. I'll break the door now.
Aunt Grace? Mom, I'm not that bad. I'm saving him. I don't know if I can save him, but if we send him to the county, it'll be too late.
Jenny, I know you took some medical books, but Victor is in critical condition. You can't just read a few pages. Let me in. I'll help you. Doctor, thank you. I'll handle this. If you really want to help, keep them under control. Stop them from breaking in.
What is wrong with Aunt Jenny and Uncle Victor?
Jenny's trying to kill him. Get her to open up.
Quick.
Don't cry! Aunt Jenny won't hurt him.
Victor, when I was in the mountains, I got bitten by a snake. The spring in the space seems to have healing powers. I'm not sure if I can save you, but this is all I can do. If this fails, and you die, I'll go with you. After all, other than you and the kids, I have nothing left to live for. If you can hear me, promise me, don't die.
Come. Easy. It works. It really works.
Victor! Victor, wake up! Victor!
It is no use! The door's blocked! We can't break it down!
Mr. Carter, you can't just stand by. Get someone now. Break down the door. Save my Vic. Oh no!
Dr. Ford, you said Jenny Summers read your medical books? Is there any chance? Can Jenny really save Victor?
Victor's losing too much blood. Only a blood transfusion can help. Even a miracle worker can't save him.
Well, to the county it is over 50 miles. Can Victor make it?
He probably won't make it.
So he's as good as dead.
Send him to the county hospital. There's a 10% chance. But if we don't, he is definitely...
Oh, no. Vic. My Vic. Why did I let you marry that witch? Oh no, I am sorry, Vic. Vic!
Mr. Carter, don't hesitate! Break down the door!
Go, get some axes. Break it down!
Victor. At first, when I came to this world, when I came here, just be alone, eat well, drink well, ignore everyone, love no one. I married you only because they said you can't have kids. And in the army, you'd be gone for years. I thought living alone would be just fine. But why did you have to come back? Even if you came back, you're so handsome and so good to me. I've fallen for you. Victor, please don't die. If you die, I'll be heartbroken. You said, whatever I say, you listen to me. Victor, you can't die. Wake up now. You can't die. Victor.
Jenny, I'll listen to you. I won't die.
Great. I won't be a widow, Victor. I love you.
Jenny, you're on my wound.
Mama.
Does it hurt?
Jenny, where am I?
Mr. Carter, the axe. Here's the axe.
Give it to me. I have 4 steamed buns this afternoon. I've got plenty of strength.
Auntie Jenny did this for a good reason. You can't break in.
What do you know, kid? Get out of the way.
Bella will protect Jenny and Uncle Victor.
Mom, do something.
Come here. Break it down.
Break!
Victor.
I was afraid they'd barge in and interrupt me, so I blocked the door.
You moved all this. Where'd you get the strength?
Love.
How do we get out later?
Well,
Vic!
Sorry for worrying you.
he's okay. Looks like it.
Jenny is amazing. Uncle Victor is okay.
Just lie down. I'll take care of you.
Whatever you say.
I can help take care of Uncle Victor.
Dr. Ford, didn't you say he'd die?
A miracle. A medical miracle.
What's going on?
Look at this drought. Nothing grows in the fields. I haven't had enough to eat.
Let's go. We need to check the fields again.
The miracle spring healed Victor's wounds. Could it?
Work.
It works. Then the withered crops. Will they be okay too?
Jenny, what you doing?
Times are tough lately, right? I went to the shop and got some rice and flour. Go share it with the neighbors. Build up your reputation. It'll help with your promotion.
You are the best. But I gotta lead the well dig. These grains.
Don't worry. Go do your work. I'll take William. After I finish, I'll come help.
Alright, I'll help you move it.
Free grain! Free grain!
Line up, line up.
Jenny is so kind. Thank you. Thank you.
Don't thank me alone. These grains. Victor asked me to distribute them.
You two are both good. Oh, right. What about Victor? Why isn't he with you?
He is leading the well dig. Don't worry. Our crops are safe.
Yeah, great.
My whole family starved for 3 days. Can I have more? Why should you get more? You only have 4. I have 7 or 8. All starving.
Hey, my family has 7 or 8 too.
Stop fighting. There's enough. Line up.
That's odd. We got no summer harvest. How do you have so much grain?
Yeah, Victor's wife. How come I didn't know? You guys were hiding so much grain.
It is leftover from my diner.
Bullshit! Cindy from the state diner said they barely have any. Your little private diner has this much grain?
Sam Doyle. If I remember right, Susan is your cousin, isn't she? So what? Here to mess with me.
I am just curious. Why you have so much grain?
Curious, my foot. Take it or get lost.
You are quite the spitfire.
I am always mean to dogs.
Stop laughing! You want to get beat?
Sammy! Jenny's been so kind to help us all out. You're here causing trouble. Get out!
Fine. Just your way! Get out! Oh, James!
You're asking for it!
Jenny and Victor helped us out. Hamlo, you're here picking fights.
Huff!
3 more meters down!
Come on, everyone. Find water, and we're saved.
Water! We found water! We found water!
Quick! Divert it to the fields!
Alright!
We have water now, but the crops are already like this. Can they survive?
We have to try.
Hope it works.
Look!
This drought. We've pulled through, thanks to Victor and Jenny.
Alright.
Me. I am at retirement age. Leading everyone. To save the crops was all I could do. So I've decided to retire.
Chief Carter, look, the times are so good now, and you are still so strong. You have to lead us all. Achieve the 4 modernizations.
Yeah, if you retire, who will lead us?
I've recommended Mr. Victor Lee.
Victor!
Victor can do it.
Chief Carter, I can't do this.
Why can't you look at how well you run your home? So Cozy, if you can run a home, you can lead everyone to a better life.
Lead everyone? I don't have the ability.
Oh, Victor! Your family runs a diner in town, making a fortune. Yet you won't share your experience and help us make money.
Exactly. Are you afraid? We'll steal your business?
No, that's not what I mean. About the diner, I don't run it. Jenny handles it.
Then let Jenny lead us.
Chief Carter trusts you to take over. So we can't let him down. And can't let everyone down.
Victor, look, your awareness isn't as high as Jenny's.
Jenny, we can't all open diners.
Don't worry, leave it to me. Everyone, if we want a better life, we really have to work. As the saying goes, there's no free lunch. Only through hard work can dreams come true.
You think we can't handle it? We've lived through worse.
Yeah.
Alright. Then let me show you the way.
What is it?
Raise chickens.
Raise chickens? Raise chickens?
Yes, raise chickens. Jenny, if you don't want to lead us, fine. Don't lie to us. If raising chickens could make us rich, we'd be rich by now. We've got 6 hens.
Chief Carter!
Get out. Chief Carter, look. Victor and his wife aren't sincere about leading us. I think when you retire, we'd better pick someone else.
You.
Shut up! Sam Doyle, looking for trouble again.
I didn't do anything. You want us to raise chickens? For what? To sell eggs. Your sister-in-law has 6 hens, even if they lay non-stop. How much can she make?
Exactly. Not to mention the feed cost.
Exactly. Even though they're promoting business. But eggs still require coupons. Right. Even if we common folks could sell eggs, we'd have to sell on the black market. You are just making us commit crimes. Chief, look at her.
Jenny, they have a point. Selling eggs on the black market won't make much money.
Who said I want you to sell eggs? Raise chickens, not eggs. You mean sell the chickens?
Yes. Sell the chickens.
Did you hear that? You heard it? She is killing the goose. Make you sell all your chickens. No more eggs. Then she'll sell you eggs at a high price. Scam artist.
Nice.
So that's your plan. Chief Carter, you really think these two can lead us to prosperity? Not even an office yet, already scheming to line our pockets.
Grace, that's a terrible thing to say.
My words are harsh. Is my mouth as dirty as your wife's? Just raise them. I'll buy every single one. $10 each.
10!
That's doable.
One day, I'll get even.
William, Bella, it's late. Go wash up and go to bed. Go on.
Go ahead. Say it.
Jenny, I know what you said today. You wanted Chief Carter to pick me. But we can't go broke just to be chief.
How could we go broke?
Look, let me do the math. 1 chicken is $10. If one family raises 10 chickens, that's 100. 10 families, 1,000. 100 families, 10,000. That's bankruptcy.
No, we can't afford that.
Do you know what I am going to do?
What are you going to do?
I am going to make country chicken.
Country chicken? Country chicken?
Yep. It is 1978 now. In 10 years, there'll be a white-bearded man coming to beautiful Eastland selling chicken. Then he'll make a fortune, rich as a king.
White-bearded man? Who?
Holland, Seventies.
Foreign devil.
Yeah.
Oh, honey, why would a foreigner sell chicken here? Or local chicken? Can't even sell, honey. Have you been telling the kids too many stories?
Oh, what I mean isn't the chicken you think. I mean fried chicken, French fries, hamburgers.
Honey, you're gonna fry babies? Are you sick? You sure you're okay?
Hey, let me ask you, have you never wondered where the ingredients for our restaurant come from?
But I trust you. You wouldn't steal or rob.
Do you remember after you got bitten by the wolf, the hot spring you soaked in?
I really soaked in it. I always thought It was a dying hallucination.
PFFT. So today, I'll take you back there.
Where is this?
I can't explain. It's right now. Come, let's go.
Crazy Thursdays here. KFC is open all night.
Mom, listen. Jenny Summers invited us to her restaurant. She's up to no good.
Second sister-in-law, Jenny kindly invited us to dinner. How could she be up to no good?
She has run this place for so long, never once invited us here. But today she did. Do you know what she wants? Cut the crap.
She wants to trick us into raising chickens. I heard about this. Jenny said, we get paid for raising them, 10 apiece. That is a good deal. Mom, what do you think?
I know about this.
Mom, you knew about this. What do you think?
Victor's made her life too easy. Now she is wasting money.
Mom, you are too kind. She is not wasting money. Think about it. 10 a chicken. What about 100? 1,000? Where would she get the money?
Then what's she up to?
Scamming us. Sam told me. Crooks came to town. They can people by selling worthless paper, saying they'll buy it back. Then they vanish, scamming so many.
What has that got to do with chickens?
Jenny wants us to raise chickens. We need chicks, right? She'll get a bunch of chicks and make us buy them. Then,
How dare she? If she does this, our whole family suffers.
Exactly. Mom, when she comes, you have to scold her. Stop this. Stop her nonsense.
You're all here.
We're here.
Why do I hear chickens?
Jenny and I went to the county farm to get some chicks for us and neighbors to raise.
Mom.
I told you so.
Jenny Summers, I am warning you. Don't you dare pull any tricks. If you want to cheat, go back to Summers Village. Don't do it here. I can't afford to lose face.
Mom, what are you saying? Cheat who?
Your wife's peddling those chicks just to get everyone to buy and raise them, right? $10 a chicken. Tell me, do you have the money?
Not right now.
So you're cheating them.
Victor, you're about to take over from Mr. Carter. You've got a bright future. Don't mess it up. Number, who said I am making them pay? Free. You are giving them away.
Yes, free, not for sale.
Jenny, what are you doing? I've never run a business, but I know basic math. When you take them back, you won't make money. You won't even break even. Autumn, thanks for looking out for me. But I won't sell eggs.
No eggs. Even selling chicken won't cover it.
Chloe, is the food ready? Serve it up.
Coming.
Treating us to dinner and just serving buns. There is chicken inside. Have a taste.
Chloe, what are you waiting for? Pass them out.
Whoa! That's flavor! It hits the spot!
Second brother, try it.
Okay.
Delicious! Hey, give me some! So tasty!
Yummy!
This chicken is crispy outside, tender inside. Perfect, Jenny. You are a great cook.
Autumn, I made these. You know how to cook.
Oh, Mom, it is just a few steps. Jenny taught me. So easy. Even William and Bella could do it. This is called standardized operation. Standardized ingredients. Standardized process. Only this way can we open stores all over the country.
All over the country.
Maybe even overseas.
Why not say mas?
Mom, just tell me if it is good.
Tastes okay. Meat bun.
It is called
Country chicken burger.
Burger. What a name. I am almost too embarrassed to eat it.
Mom, second brother, second sister-in-law, Autumn. You know, Victor is about to take over as chief. Since he is taking over, he needs to do something real. So we decided to do country chicken.
Got it. You bought the chicken for country chicken. There is more chicken nuggets, chicken strips, and wings. So delicious. I've tried them all.
Quick! Let me try!
Chicken is scarce. So I want everyone to raise chickens, then I'll buy them back, turn them into these. Sell nationwide.
Jenny, you're really going places.
It is all thanks to Victor.
You are my wife. Of course I support you.
So, I hope everyone can support me.
How to support? No money here.
No money needed. So everyone, as many as possible, take some chicks, raise them to adulthood.
Mom, second brother, Grace, Autumn, we're family. Only if you trust us. Will everyone else?
Well,
What if they die?
No loss if they die. These chicks are free to take.
How is it free? Don't I have to feed them every day?
You stupid woman! Are you brainless? Those old veggies are worth nothing. You're infuriating. Listen up. Raise them properly. Mess up, and I'll fix you. Don't worry, Vic.
Have you heard? The Lees are raising chickens. Looks like Jenny wasn't lying. They really are buying for 10 each. Look at Victor's mom.
She's so stingy. How could she do this? Should we try it? Chicks are free anyway.
What if they die? They'll make you pay. Can you afford it?
True.
Let's wait and see.
Still waiting. We're all embracing new ideas. Be bold and try. Jenny said, the bigger the storm, the pricier the fish. To live a better life, you can't be afraid to take risks. When you finally want to raise them, the chicks will be gone. You'll regret it.
Mr. Carter, then are you raising them? Yeah, if you do it, we will too.
Oh, of course I am. I am on my way to get the chicks now.
Let's go.
Right, go!
Listen up, everyone. Let's be clear. Before you get the chicks, you need to sign a contract. When the chicks grow up, you must sell them to us. $10 each.
What if someone offers 11? Do we still have to sell it to you?
Look, we must keep our word. They gave you the chicks for free for just $1. You'd sell your soul.
Sheesh, just asking. No other meaning.
Mr. Carter, you're here.
I'll take 20 chicks. When I retire, I'll raise chickens at home.
Come, sign here.
Sure.
Take a look. Right here. All right.
Don't you want to read it?
Why read it? I trust you too. Where do I get the chicks?
We'll deliver them to you.
I'll take 10.
Over here. Hang on, everyone.
What do we do?
Victor's wife is trouble. She got your sister Susan locked up. I was too low ranking to speak up. This time, we can't let them get too cocky.
Bro, you are the deputy chief. Technically, you should replace Mr. Carter. But he picked Victor.
所以你得防得稳. Make sure his chicken farm fails.
Bro, don't worry.
Oh my. After a long day, we finally gave away all 1,000 chicks. Once these chicks grow up, we'll officially rename Jenny's Country Kitchen to Country Chicken.
Jenny, today we spent every last cent of our savings. When the chicks grow up, how will we buy them?
Get a bank loan.
Loans buy chickens. We don't offer that service. Sorry.
We can mortgage something.
It is not about collateral. We simply don't offer that service. Sorry to bother you.
Didn't expect loans to be this hard. Back in my day, the banks were chasing us to take loans.
Can't help it. Things take time to develop.
So, what do we do? If all else fails, we can take the stuff from the space.
No way, Jenny. Do you want to get reported again?
Can't do this. Can't do that. So, what do we do?
If all else fails, let's go ask Henry Young.
Right. Banks don't loan. Tow private shops now. But they do loan. Tow state-owned enterprises. Let's go find him.
Go.
Loan to buy chickens.
Yes.
It does sound a bit risky.
Come on, tell me the but.
But actually, it's nothing. But our state-owned loans are for specific use. Even if I could get the funds, it's against the rules.
Not give, borrow.
Borrowing is out too.
You know so much. Any other ideas?
Idea. I do have an idea.
Then spill it.
I'll lend you the money personally. I believe in you too.
Thank you, Director Young. I'll write you an IOU.
How much? Thousands? 10,000? 100,000? No way! That's a fortune! I'm not worth that much.
You're a director. You don't have it?
Not even a director, not even a governor has that much. Besides, what do you need so much for? How many chickens?
Not just chickens. I'll open a shop. First the county, then the province, and then I'll expand.
Stop. 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 I don't have it.
Invest. Invest. Your factory has so many workers. Let them invest.
Invest. That is against the rules.
I don't know if it is against the rules now, but in the future, it definitely won't be. It'll be highly encouraged and fully supported.
All right. I'll take the risk. I'll call a staff meeting tomorrow.
Brave enough.
Because I, Henry Young, trust you too. 加油. Cheer it up. Wait for my good news.
All right. Jenny! Are you home?
What's up, Grace?
Come on, look at my chicks.
Chicks? What's wrong?
Don't say that. The chicks are fine. They laid eggs today.
They laid eggs. So they're fully grown.
Got 10 chicks. Raised all 10. Can you take them?
Sure, don't worry. I'll pick them up tomorrow.
All right. See you. After this batch, I'll get 50 more.
Grace, next time, you'll have to pay for them.
You won't give them.
At the start, I was afraid no one would trust me, so I paid for it myself. Once we profit, you'll have to invest your own money.
Sure. As long as you buy them, I'll pay for the chicks. I am off. Come early tomorrow.
All right. Take care.
Why get up so early? What for?
Jenny's here to collect the chickens. Can't let her go hungry. I'll make some porridge and boil some eggs.
Hey, where'd the eggs come from?
From the hens. She only takes the chickens.
Chickens? They laid eggs?
Chickens! Tom! Hurry!
Oh no! They were fine last night! Why are they dead? Second sister-in-law, did you?
I am here for the chickens.
Chickens! They're dead! I raised them for 3 months! 3 months! Why are they all dead?
Second sister-in-law, come on, get up.
You won't take them if they're dead? Just give me something. 50? 50's fine.
Sister-in-law, this isn't right.
Why isn't it right? What do you make? Country chicken? Don't you have to kill them? Just say I killed them for you. I'll pluck them now. Pluck?
Sister-in-law, no. If customers knew I use dead chicken, my business is done before it starts. Just keep it between us. Honesty is everything in business. Besides, if I take these dead chickens, when others die, they'll come to me. What then?
No one will know. Oh, Jenny, we're family.
I have my principles.
Principles my ass! She never wanted your chickens! Tom, Grace, tell me, you raised these chickens for so long. They were fine, ready to sell today.
They all died.
What a coincidence!
Shouldn't be. They were fine last night.
I am afraid someone's up to no good.
Stop Doyle! Cut the crap! I paid for these chicks. You're accusing me of killing them. Then why did I buy them in the first place? Waste all this money. Am I crazy?
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
Tom, why doesn't it make sense?
Seb, tell me, what is going on?
I heard from others that to buy these chicks, she spent all the family savings, right?
So what?
So what? Can't pay! So she backed out!
You're broke? You won't take them. Then why make me buy them? Why? You're messing with me.
Second sister-in-law, don't listen to his nonsense.
I don't care. At least, give me $30. That's 3 months of feed money. I fed them polished rice. That's money. You can't make me lose money.
Sister-in-law, you think I poisoned them? Then tell me, how did I do it?
Poisoned them!
Hey, look at them. Looks like poisoning.
She can't pay, but won't admit she won't take them.
So,
She poisoned them all.
Ha! So, I am short 100. For 100, I'd poison 10 chickens.
Yeah, not worth it. If you poison, you'd poison them all.
Smart guy.
Grace! Are your chickens okay?
My chickens all died suddenly.
Your chickens died too. Yeah, they were fine 2 days ago.
Same here. Damn it. These past few months, I spent so much time on them.
Oh no, the chickens are dead. My family of 8 depends on these chickens. What do we do?
I am so mad. What do we do?
Jenny Summers, look, all the chickens are dead. How could this be a coincidence? Today, you must explain this to us.
Something's fishy here.
What is fishy about it? All the chickens died overnight. Who benefits the most? Huh?
If you don't want them, just say so. We could keep them for eggs. How could you be so cruel? You poisoned them all.
That's right.
Tell us, what do we do?
Stop arguing. Listen to me. The chickens might not be poisoned. Could be bird flu.
Can't blame Jenny Summers. Jenny, don't worry. We'll get to the bottom of this.
Dr. Ford. Is Dr. Ford here?
Dr. Ford went to check.
Oh, let's not rush. Wait for Dr. Ford's results.
But I heard Jenny Summers is close with Dr. Ford. Could they?
Right. What if she sides with her? They were clearly poisoned, but she says it is bird flu. We wouldn't know.
Oh, come on. Don't you know Dr. Ford's character? She'd never do that.
They're in this together. But why?
Hey! Dr. Ford's here.
Dr. Ford!
Dr. Ford, what is the result?
Poisoned.
Oh! I told you! What do you say, Jenny? What did I say? What did Jenny say?
Jenny Summers, I always thought you were feisty, but not heartless. I never imagined you'd cheat us like this.
I didn't do it.
Jenny Summers, the facts are clear. Still denying it. Dr. Ford said it is poisoning.
Poisoning doesn't prove Jenny did it.
Chief Carter, you are here.
Chief Carter, your chickens?
Mine are fine.
Chief Carter, Jenny Summers wouldn't dare poison your chicken.
Poisoning is real, but we can't blame Jenny.
Chief Carter, think about it. People do things for a reason, right? Who benefits most from dead chickens? Of course, Jenny Summers, who can't afford them.
Really can't buy.
Not right now.
What did I say? What did I say? I was right, wasn't I? You wouldn't listen, and now, 3 months for nothing.
But Victor is working on it.
You! Where's Victor? Victor!
Are you deaf? I said. Victor went to raise the money.
Raising money or destroying evidence? Who knows?
Victor, he was involved too.
Their husband and wife, of course, together.
Hey! Don't jump to conclusions.
Hey! Sam, shut up! We're handling this! Stop guessing. Guess boldly. Verify carefully.
Jeez. I'm just making a bold guess.
I see. They're not after me. They want Victor.
Hey! You've shamed our entire family! Speak up! How will you fix this?
Even if she pays us, we can't trust her anymore. Right?
They want to destroy Victor's reputation. Even if I agree now to pay 10 each, Victor can't replace Chief Carter.
Jenny, I believe you. You wouldn't do such a thing. But now, I think you should say something.
Yeah, say something. Aren't you usually sharp-tongued? Since you want me to speak, fine. I have only one thing to say. No money. We follow the contract. Are you just giving up on everything? What? You don't care anymore.
I am begging you. Think about Vic. He is about to...
Oh, Jenny Summers. You're Victor's wife. Your family acts like this in the future. How can the villagers trust him?
Chiefs, since she's admitted it, let's handle this officially. Poisoning is a capital crime. You could lose your head.
For a poisoned chicken.
Poisoning is a crime. Just the act itself is a crime. Chief Carter, look. We can't be sure yet, but she is a suspect.
Mrs. Lee, what do you think?
Lose my head.
Then, let's forget it. I'll pay, okay? Aunt Linda, don't you hate this daughter-in-law?
She is still my daughter-in-law.
That serious. And my 10 chickens. Forget it. I didn't want them anyway.
What about the rest of you?
Victor saved Joey's dad and almost died. His chickens couldn't have been poisoned.
Weasel bite. Yeah. My life isn't great, but Victor's wife helped us during the drought. If I hurt her for money, I can't do it. My chickens weren't poisoned either.
My chickens! I ate them!
My chickens, they died laying eggs.
I only checked Grace's chickens, so this doesn't prove. All the chickens were poisoned.
Simple. Bring the chickens over for a check.
I am the clinic doctor, not a coroner.
You!
Alright. Stop arguing. We're all neighbors. No need to make a scene. Alright, Jenny. On behalf of your family, apologize to the villagers. Then we're done.
Apologize. No way.
Hey! Why are you so arrogant?
Because all the chickens were poisoned. Because all the chickens were poisoned.
Hey! Jenny, what are you doing? Are you confessing? This is...
Mom, I am telling the truth.
Well. She confessed. Tell me, did you do this with Victor?
Hey! Don't drag others in.
She is digging her own grave. Can't blame me for that.
Chief Carter. She confessed. We have to follow protocol, or it is a breach of discipline. Right? Take Jenny Summers away!
Who dares touch my wife?
What is this? Poisoning evidence. You are confessing.
See for yourself.
So much money! So much money!
You okay?
Just a small fry.
Get out! You bastard!
Ah! Ouch! According to your initial theory, I didn't have enough money. So, I poisoned all the chickens. But now, is this enough to buy the chickens?
Money to buy chickens. No reason to poison. Otherwise, why go through the trouble to raise chickens for you? That doesn't make sense?
Then who poisoned them? Of course. The two of them.
You! Don't talk nonsense!
At first, I thought Sam was just avenging his cousin. But then I realized, just to avenge his cousin, risking his life, not worth it. Just now, Simon seemed to be impartial. But actually, he and Sam were in cahoots. It was so obvious. Every word was a subtle attack on my husband. Why is that?
Are you mad? I picked Victor to succeed me.
Hi. Okay. I was upset about it, but that doesn't prove I poisoned them. You can hypothesize, but you need proof. Where's the evidence? Do you have any? I do.
Who's this?
Who the hell are you?
I am the director of the State Herb Factory, Henry Young. You don't know me, but I've seen you.
Don't talk nonsense!
Be careful with the poison. Keep it away from people and animals. It is highly toxic.
Okay, thanks.
Buying so much poison.
Said it is for the community. They have a rat infestation.
Rat infestation?
He looks like a rat himself. Everyone, the other day at the town pharmacy, doing business, ran into him by chance. You look like a rat. Hard to forget you.
You say you saw me. I'll sue you for slander.
Won't admit it. Fine. Let the security check it out.
It is not my fault. You never saw me selling poison, right?
Simon. You wanted to get Victor! You made me do all this! Now you are ditching me!
Don't drag me down. Do you approve?
Damn you! Simon, you helped me poison them last night. Your pants are still at my place.
Stop it! Take them away! Argue in front of the King of Hell!
Yes.
Simon! Get the hell out! I'll kill you!
Thank you. If you hadn't come in time, I'd never be able to clear my name.
Alright, let's not dwell on that. The chicks were poisoned by those two.
Yes.
I held a staff meeting, begged and reasoned. Finally got them to invest. Your country chicken raised so much money. We were hoping to make money with you. Great. All the chickens are dead. How can we collect them?
We'll collect.
What?
As I said before, $10 each. We'll collect. Forget it. Don't waste the money. We can't pay it back.
We don't need it.
We don't need it.
We don't need it.
I said, we'll collect as agreed. How can we open without them?
This water can actually bring the dead back to life.
Not exactly. They can be saved. They're still alive.
That is still amazing. So, we open tomorrow, as planned?
Absolutely.
Great. We must free our minds, develop the economy. Jenny's Country Chicken not only set a great example, but also showed us the way. What is even more praiseworthy is that Chief Lee and Miss Summers remember those who helped them and lead everyone to a better life. Jenny's Country Chicken. Let's wish it go from here to the world.
Yes!
Chief Lee, light the firecrackers!
Yeah!
Why isn't Mom here yet?
Mommy's out making money. How else can we eat?
When I grow up, I'll help Aunt Jenny, so she won't be so busy.
What a good boy.
I am late.
I am here.
Just got my Sunport City ticket. Any later, and I'd miss it.
When are you leaving?
After the photo. Perfect timing. Time to wean him.
Let's take the photo.
Come on. Stand next to me. Mommy, where is Sunport City?
By the South Sea, in Eastland.
What are you going there for?
To watch an old man draw circles.
Okay, closer, closer. Family should be close. That's how it should be. Ready? 1, 2, 3, smile!